Song, everybody. Just wanted to go through and drop a different kind of video. This one is about kind of etiquette on being in a training area or a dojang or a dojo or a martial art place or uh, wherever you happen to be. So a little bit more specific towards our specific dojang. But anyway, here we go. First one is move with haste. So you want to make sure, like, for instance, if your instructor calls you over, you don't want to be slowly strolling over to your instructor. It's not a very respectful thing. You want to make sure you move quickly to wherever your instructor asks you to go, or if your instructor asks you to come see them, or if you're coming up to be awarded a stripe on your belt, or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that you move with haste. And then also you want to make sure that you speak very respectfully. So some of the things people do wrong as far as that goes is, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, a real lethargic speak. You want to make sure, you're talking to your instructors, people with years of experience that have a higher rank than you. You want to make sure you speak with a little authority to them. So you say quickly, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. So you have to speak with a little bit of authority when you're addressing your instructors. All right, on to the next thing. Entering and leaving the training area, the dojang or the house of discipline. Some places are a little bit tighter on this. What we require here is basically when you enter the training area, because we do it this way because we have a lot of people here that are attending multiple classes, and we don't want you guys to, break your backs bowing 1,000 times. So basically, when you enter the training area for the first time in a particular day, you're going to turn towards the flags, you're going to bow and say Pilsung, and then you may enter the training area from there. Now, if you're leaving the training area to get a drink of water, or you're leaving one class but you're coming to the next class after that, we don't require you to bow in and out each of those times. But when you're leaving for the last time, you're leaving the training floor for the last time for the night, you will bow again towards the flags at the front of the dojang and say Pilsung. So you're going to bow in with a strong Pilsung, enter the training area, and then before you leave the training area for the end of the night, you'll bow again, say Pilsung, and then exit the training area. So I hope that clears everything up as far as that's concerned. Our next one, our promise, our principles, our pledges, all those things. When we go over those at the beginning of class, there's a specific reason why we do that. It's not all for show. It's kind of a scientific mental thing. We go over those very confidently. We say them out loud, and we understand some of the newer students not quite comfortable enough to do that yet, and we cut you guys a little bit of slack. But if you've been here for a little while, you need to make sure you're saying the pledges, principles, and the promises with a lot of authority and feeling. Don't mumble them. Don't just stand there and say nothing. Saying these things out loud, first off, it shows your confidence. Secondly, saying those things out loud makes them, in your brain anyway, it makes them true. And that's kind of the first step in changing ourselves, is convincing ourselves that these things are true. So we say those out loud to instill those values into ourselves. Not to instill it into somebody else, but to instill it into ourselves, because we're all students here. Even your instructors are saying these things just like you guys are, because we're all trying to accomplish the same goals in our life and with our personal development. Let's see, what else we got? Respectful speak. Of course, if you're talking to anybody of higher rank than yourself, you should be using sirs and ma'ams. You should say them with confidence. Don't mumble them or sir. You say them with confidence. Anyone who's older or senior to you in age, you should also be using sirs and ma'ams. And then to take that one step further, anybody who's accomplished the rank of black belt is also deserving of sirs and ma'ams from the other students as well. I'm the highest rank at this particular academy. I'm a 5th degree black belt. And still, when I talk to even children, I say sir and ma'am most of the time. When I'm talking to any of the other adults, I don't have to call, a purple belt lady ma'am, but I do so out of respect. And I would advise you guys do the same thing. It's a good play on respect. Even when if I go to a McDonald's and I'm talking to the lady in the drive-thru, I'm going to say ma'am, or if it's a gentleman, I will say sir. It's just a show of respect. As a martial artist, we need to make sure that we're showing respect in everything we do throughout our lives. So that's just part of that. Let's see, proper bow. This is something a lot of people mess up, and it's not really anybody's fault that they don't do these bows properly. It's kind of our fault because we don't teach the technical part of how to do a bow properly often enough. Lazy bows, chicken pegs, where you're doing that. Those things aren't bows, and those aren't very respectful displays as well. Good bow, you're going to stand up straight. Your arms are going to snap by your side. You're going to bend at the waist. And when you do this, your arms are going to stay, or your hands anyway, are going to stay in the same position. So you have to bend the elbows as you bow. And then we're coming back up. You don't want to let your hands dangle out in front of you while you're bowing. You also don't want them sliding down your legs while you're bowing as well. So basically, when you come to attention and your hands are locked in right below your hips, that's the position your hands are going to stay in during your bow. And then from there, we say pill while we're standing up. And then as we bow here, after we get to the bowing position, we say sung. And then we slowly come back up. So it's not a fast, boom, boom here. It's pill, sung. And traditionally, it's actually a 2-second count from the bowing position to back into the standing position. But that's a little more technical than we usually go into. Just make sure your bow is very respectful. That's probably one of the most respectful things that we do here in the Dojang is the bowing. It's a tremendous sign of respect to other students, instructors. So we need to make sure that we're doing it properly. And also, as much of a sign of respect a proper bow is, an improper bow is actually the opposite of that. It can be very disrespectful. Most of the instructors here aren't overly offended by an improper bow, although I have seen some that I was very put off by, wow, that's very offensive the way you did that. But for the most part, we're not completely picky about that. But you want to make sure when you're doing a bow, it's a sign of respect. So you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that conveys respect to those that you're bowing to, or even if you're just bowing to the flags. That's our home country flag up in the front of the training area. That's the South Korean flag, which is the homeland of where our art was developed and came from. And in between that is all our ethics, our promise, our pledge, the principles we aim to achieve. So when we bow, we're showing respect to all those things. So bowing is tremendously important, so make sure you're doing it correctly. And if you need some tips or pointers or you need some help, don't be afraid to ask your instructors. We would love to help in all those areas, not just, helping with your punch. We want to help you be respectful. We want you to grow on a personal level. We want to help build your character, and we want to help you be a respectful person, because respectful people accomplish more in life than disrespectful people ever will. So it's a part of not just the martial art, it's a part of growing and being successful. Let's see if I have a little list here. I'm going to see if I'm missing anything. Oh, one last thing. Another part of respect in the training area specific to, a martial art academy is kind of tidying up when you leave. So, oftentimes we have a lot of equipment that we get out while we're doing our classes, and, we don't usually have the instructors usually don't have a lot of time to go and put all that equipment away after that class and before the next class begins, because we're hustling, especially with our back-to-back classes. So part of the job of a student is to help tidy up a little bit after your class is done. The general rule is when you come to train, you want to leave your training area exactly how you found it. So basically, you want it to be exactly how it was when you came into the training area, and not, dirtied up, not equipment laying around. So do your instructors a favor. After your class is finished, tidy up a little bit, put a focus mitt away. If we're playing a game, pick up all the equipment and put that away. If there's a punching bag out on the floor, take that and put that back in the proper place for that. So that way, when the next class starts, the next group can pick up with a clean and tidy training area. And a clean and tidy training area is a productive training area. So make sure to remember that's also a part of respect to your instructors and your training area, is to tidy up a little bit after your class is finished, so you're leaving the dojang exactly how you came into it, and leaving it also ready for the next group that comes behind you. So anyway, this is a little video on Dojang etiquette from Cartersville Martial Art. My name is Master Michael Wilson. We're going to be bringing you more videos in time, so be on the lookout, and hope you enjoyed this. Hil Sung.